It just happened to you. Maybe yesterday, maybe an hour ago. You stood up from your couch with a clear mission. You walked into the kitchen, and the second you crossed the threshold, your mind went completely blank. You stood there, frozen, asking yourself the same question every human has asked at some point. What did I come in here for? You probably blamed yourself. You probably thought your memory is getting worse. You probably worried for just a second that something is wrong with your brain. But here's what nobody told you. Your brain didn't malfunction. It did exactly what it was designed to do, and the reason it happens has a name. Scientists call it the doorway effect. And once you understand it, you'll never think about your memory the same way again. Let's start with a study that changed how we understand human memory. In 2006, a psychologist named Gabriel Radvansky at the University of Notre Dame ran an experiment that seemed almost too simple to matter. He had volunteers play a virtual reality game. Their task was to pick up an object from one table, carry it across a room, and place it on another table. Then they were tested on what they remembered about the object. But there was a twist. Some volunteers carried the object across the same room. Others carried it through a doorway into a different room. The distance was identical, the object was identical, the task was identical. The only difference was the doorway. The results were shocking. The volunteers who walked through a doorway forgot significantly more about the object than the ones who walked the same distance in the same room. Just passing through that one doorway erased part of their memory. Radvansky repeated the experiment over and over. He tried it in real rooms. He tried it in virtual rooms. He tried it with different objects. The result was always the same. Doorways were making people forget. This wasn't a small effect, it was huge. The drop in memory accuracy was so large that it forced scientists to rewrite how they thought about human memory entirely. Because here's what they realized. Your brain doesn't store memory like a video recording. It doesn't keep one continuous stream of your life. Your brain stores memory in chunks. Scientists call them event models. An event model is a mental package containing everything related to what you're currently doing. Your location, your goal, the objects around you, the sounds you hear, the reason you're standing where you're standing. While you're inside one event, your brain holds all that information together. It's accessible, it's organized, it's immediate. But the moment something signals that one event is ending and a new one is beginning, your brain does something extraordinary. It seals the previous event model and starts building a new one from scratch. Scientists call this an event boundary. And here's the part that explains everything. Doorways are one of the strongest event boundaries your brain recognizes. When you cross a doorway, your brain interprets it as a clear signal. The previous chapter of your life just ended. A new one is beginning. So it does what it has done for hundreds of thousands of years. It files the old information away and prepares a fresh mental space for whatever happens next. The problem is, the thing you were trying to remember was inside that old chapter. Once your brain closes that chapter, retrieving the information becomes much harder, and the thought you had 10 seconds ago in the living room is suddenly behind a wall in your mind. You can sometimes break through that wall. You can sometimes walk back to where you started and feel the memory return. But often, it just stays sealed. This isn't a bug in your brain, it's a feature. Think about why your brain would evolve this way. For 300,000 years, your ancestors lived in environments where memory wasn't about lists. It was about places, where the water was, where the predators lived, where they buried food. Memory was tied to location, because location was survival. Sealing off old event models when you change environments was incredibly useful. It meant your brain didn't get cluttered with information from the cave you just left while you were trying to focus on the open field you just entered. The doorway forget isn't broken software. It's optimized software, designed for a world that no longer exists. But there's something even stranger. Researchers have found that the doorway effect doesn't only happen with physical doors. It happens with any clear shift in context, walking from one room to another, switching from one task to another, closing one browser tab and opening a new one, even imagining you're in a different place. In 2011, researchers proved this with one of the strangest experiments in modern memory science. They had volunteers complete the same memory task as Radvansky's study, except they didn't actually move. They just imagined walking through doorways into new rooms. The result? They still forgot more. Just imagining a doorway was enough to make their brains close an event model. This means the doorway effect isn't really about doors at all. It's about your brain's relationship with context. Any moment your brain decides something just changed, it begins sealing off the previous moment. whether that change is real, imagined, or just a small shift in attention. And this has serious consequences for how modern humans live. Think about your day. You probably switch tasks constantly. You write an email, then check your phone, then walk to the kitchen, then return, then open a new tab, then answer a message, then try to return to the email. Every single one of those switches is an event boundary. Every single one of them triggers a small version of the doorway effect. This is one of the hidden reasons modern multitasking feels so exhausting and unproductive. It's not just that switching takes time. It's that switching forces your brain to repeatedly close and reopen event models, each time losing access to part of what you were doing. Researchers studying open-plan offices have documented this clearly. People who work in environments with constant interruptions show measurable drops in memory and focus, even when the interruptions are brief. Their brains keep getting forced to create event boundaries they didn't choose. In other words, the modern world is full of artificial doorways, and every one of them quietly erases a little of what you were just thinking. But there's a deeper layer to this that almost nobody talks about. The doorway effect doesn't just affect short-term tasks. It might shape how you experience your entire life. Researchers have found that people whose lives are full of constant context shifts often describe feeling like time is moving faster, the years feel shorter, whole months feel like a blur. Scientists believe this might be partly explained by event boundaries. The more frequently your brain seals off chunks of experience, the more fragmented your memory becomes. Ancient humans lived in environments with very few context shifts, long stretches of similar activity, familiar landscapes, the same group of people every day. Their event models could remain open for hours, even days. Their memories became deeply layered and rich. You, on the other hand, might cross 50 to 100 event boundaries before lunch. Your brain is sealing chapter after chapter, each one shorter than the last. This is one possible reason why so many people feel like time is slipping through their fingers in the modern world. And here's where it gets even more remarkable. Scientists have used fMRI scanners to watch what happens in the brain during an event boundary. Right at the moment a doorway is crossed, a specific region called the hippocampus shows a sudden spike in activity. It's the same region responsible for forming long-term memories. What scientists believe is happening is essentially a memory filing process. Your hippocampus is taking everything from the old event and storing it for long-term recall. But while it's doing that, it can't easily access the details of the moment that just ended. There's a brief window where the old information becomes temporarily unreachable. That window is exactly when you stand in the kitchen, frozen, asking yourself what you came in for. You're not losing your mind. You're watching your own brain in the middle of one of the most sophisticated organizational processes biology has ever produced. So the next time you walk into a room and your mind goes blank, try something different. Don't blame yourself. Don't worry that your brain is failing. Just turn around. Walk back through the doorway you came from. Most of the time, the memory will return the moment you cross the boundary again. Because you're re-entering the event model your brain just sealed. It feels like magic. It's not. It's your brain doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. Your memory isn't broken. It's just organized differently than you think. The doorway effect isn't a flaw. It's a feature designed for a world that disappeared a long time ago. And every time you stand in a doorway, blank, wondering what you came in for, you're not malfunctioning. You're just being human.